Hello, folks. We want to welcome you again today to this platform. Like we told you before, this is where we make demography very easy, very easy. We bring it very low so that the common man will be able to understand exactly what is required to get along with population and some of the issues that are also affecting the growth and decline of the population. So today we're grateful to be in 2026 as we begin this year. We look forward to more educative and informative content coming out from our platform. So the last video we did, we provided you with a list of demographic terms, and we told you that in our upcoming videos, we will be telling you the meaning of these terminologies, and then we will also be providing you a broader understanding about them. So today, let's begin with the first word called population. So almost every one of us have come across the term population, but most people do not understand what really population is. And remember, everything we're going to say here going to be based on demographic analysis. And we are making reference to this book called the Population Handbook. You can get yourself a copy. It's very good. It will provide you a clearer understanding about demography as well as the futures or the elements that interplay to facilitate the increase or decline in population. So it's good. You can get it from just your search engine using your browser. Just tap the population handbook and then you'll be able to get a copy of it and you can run through it. So the demography, population basically refers to the total number of people that are living in a particular area at a specific time. So all those people rather that can be seen in a given place, they are the ones that we term as population. And these places most often can be considered as a community. It can be a number of persons in the community. It can be a number of persons in a country or the number of persons in the world. So if you look at the people on the face of the earth, you know that these people, they are basically referred to as the population. So that's how it gets along. Now, what the population does normally is that it helps organizations and governments to be able to plan properly as to where to carry on development and what kind of development to take on in these areas. Now, on the population, there's this word we talked about the last time called the size of the population or the population size. So basically, in demography, that has to do with the the number of people that are living in an area. The number of people living in an area is called the size of the population. So, for example, you could say that the size of the population of my house is 5. That means you have 5 persons living in your house. You could say the number of persons in my house, they are 5. Everybody will understand that. Or you could say, in other words, that the University of Liberia has a population of 25,000 students, basically on a graduate level. That will tell you that that's the number of people, number of persons in that university. So that's how it works. Now, on the population stage, there's this thing called the sex ratio. So everywhere you go, there are two sexes that you see, or two sex. We have either the male or the female in a population. So what the sex ratio normally does is this, but before then, I give you the definition of a sex ratio. So sex ratio is used to determine the number of male to female in a given population. So to get this, you must be able to determine the number of male per 100 females in a given population. Now, this too is very important to demographers, policymakers, government, and other institutions. They could be local, national, or international institution. So this one is very, very much important because it gives us a clearer understanding about the gender balance in a given area. With this, you'll be able to understand the labor forces in a society, in an environment, or in a country. With that being said, we also move on to the next terminology that we spoke about the last time, and that is the age structure. Now, age structure in demographics show the population in terms of distribution across different age groups or age cohort. So a cohort is a number of persons in a is a group. It's a group. So for example, you could say the number of persons in age group between 0 to 5, and then the next group will be 6 to 9. Whatever you want to stop, that's how you structure your population based on age. So it's just about you having a clue about the number of persons in this population and their age range. Then you talk about the age structure. Now this one too is very, very much important because policymakers, government institutions, and non-governmental institutions, they use this aspect of demographic in order to be able to determine what to really focus on. For example, if you have more females, you know, in this age group, example, more female in this age group between 0 to 5. You have more male in this age group between this number and this number. In fact, the age group, it can even tell you the the strength of the population, whether it is an aging population, it is a middle-aged population, or it is a very young population, depending on the age group that you'll be working with. So it is very much important. Still on the population, there's this word called the crude birth rate. Like we told you the last time, it is represented by CBR. This is very, very much important. It is a crucial determinant. And what really is true birth rate? The true birth rate is just the number of live births per 1,000 people in a year. So, for example, live birth has to do with the number of persons born alive. So that's live birth. In order for you to be able to, now we're talking about the birth rate on this chapter or under this review, you will know that, for example, we could say that we have a population of 2,500, and out of the 2,500, we were able to get this number of persons that were born alive in this year. So that's how we be able to determine the true birth rate. It's just the number of live births per 1,000 of the population. So that means, for example, we could say the number of live birth, number of persons born alive to 1,000 of the population for this year. That is the live birth for that year. Now, this one is very, very much important. Why is it important? It's important because it clearly indicates as to how fast population is growing. So when you have more birth rate, you know that your population will grow at a rapid speed. On the contrary to birth rate, we have this word called the true death rate. So true death rate, on the contrary to birth rate, is just the number of deaths per 1,000 of the population. So the number of persons that died per 1,000 of the population in a year is what we term as the true death rate. So in demographic, it is very, very much important, just the same way as true birth rate is important. Why is the true death rate important? It is important because it gives you a clearer understanding about the health condition, the quality of health facility in a country that has to do with the population or the people that are residing in that country. So it is very, very much important. Then we also have the last one we're going to talk about today. This is the natural increase rate. We told you previously that the natural increase rate is represented by NRR. Now, what is the natural increase rate? The natural increase rate is just the difference between the birth and the death. But not just that, you have to exclude migration, which we're going to talk about in our next video or in our upcoming videos. You have to exclude migration from this process. Then you'll be able to determine the natural increase rate. For example, if we have a more birth, we would definitely see that the population will increase. That means it will have birth exceeding death. Honestly, the population will increase. So that's how we'll be able to understand the natural increase rate when you are discussing population. Remember, it is actually the difference between the birth and the death, but you have to take away. That means you have to exclude migration for this process exclusively, so that you'll be able to determine whether the population is growing or it is not. So we're going to stop here for today, and we want to say thank you to those of you that always give us encouragement, whether on the Blue app or off the Blue app. Those of you that criticize the things that we do, we love it. Your criticism has been used to empower us to correct our wrongs and see how best we'll be able to make some positive adjustment. So if it is your first time coming across this video or this page, please follow us, and then please share the video so that other people will get to understand about demography. The next thing is that this is an open platform. So if you have any question, feel very much comfortable to drop your questions in the comment section. As soon as we come on live or come on later, and then as per notification, we will answer your questions respectfully. So if you have more interest in population, if you want to grow or expand your understanding about the population, we ask that you stay with us. We are your partner. Break down the demography to the simplest, to the lowest form or term, so that you'll be able to understand what exactly it looks or feels like. Thank you so much as usual. Have yourself a pleasant new year. May this new year bring us exactly what God has planned for us. We love you. Thank you for all watching.